They may be the end of an Israeli tradition, the third generation of children born on an old-style kibbutz, and the last in all of Israel to grow up in the old kibbutz way, living and sleeping separately from their parents. But now even these last old-style kibbutz children and the question of where they go to bed at night have become the focus of a painful dilemma.
I believe that if the children will sleep at home, it will change the system, it will go too far.
I want my baby in my home.
Once, Israel's communes were seen as pioneering and idealistic. Now, to many Israelis, they're as obsolete as the socialism that inspired them. To find what some call the last real kibbutz in the world, you have to travel almost to the end of Israel. It's called Kibutz Bara'am, and in some ways it's a piece of history. While other communes have changed, Bara'am is hanging on to old kibbutz ideals like communalism and old kibbutz traditions like security. Hadass Zohar was born on Bara'am. She left briefly to study but came back to live and raise a family. For her, kibbutz life isn't about idealism. It's simply practical, and she likes it.
It gives me strength. I feel it gives me, in a way, a meaning for life. The very usual things in life, like going on shopping, preparing food, laundry, and things like that, are made for you. You don't have to do all the hassle. And then you can say your mind is free for other things, like work, like taking care of my children, like being a member of the community, an active member in the community.
On Bara'am, like the original communes, almost everything is shared. Cooking and eating are communal. Decisions are made in long general meetings where every member has a vote. There's no need for money, no bills to pay, and everyone's supposed to be equal. It's a way of life that Hadass's partner Neri found hard to get used to. They met outside while Hadass was studying. Like most modern Israelis, Neri had never dreamed he'd end up on a kibbutz.
Well, I was sure I'm not going to live here. I plan to take Hadass out from here, maybe to live somewhere else in the world or in the country.
But Neri began picking apples and tried to get used to not being paid a salary. 8 years later, he's running the apple shed.
It takes some time to get used to learn how the life is here now. And to see that, well, we are just a community and we, live together, work together, raising our kids together, just do everything together and being part of this place.
These days, kibbutz members get a yearly cash allowance. Hadass and Neri could easily earn more outside. They both say they like living with other people. Like all kibbutz children in the old days, Hadass grew up in a children's dormitory, from when she was a few months old till the time she turned 18.
Children I grew up with are my best friends. As a child, it was really great because you live with other children, you have your own life, you learn to be very independent because you don't grow up with your parents all the time.
It's the way Hadass and Neri would like to bring up their 18-month-old daughter, Noah, taking her every night like they do now to the children's house. But it's a ritual neither believe they'll be doing for long. Over the past 10 years, nearly every kibbutz in Israel has closed down its children's house. Every kibbutz, that is, except Bara'am. Now, even here, many parents want their children at home. Recently, the kibbutz held a secret ballot. Just over half of the 400 members voted to keep the children's house. But the decision was close. So far, everyone's accepted the result. But for the first time, the kibbutz is divided.
In the middle of the day, I have half an hour to go there and to see him. But it's not the same when you see how he's away in the morning, and it's not enough time for me.
Hagit Lerner is one of Hadassah's closest friends. She too grew up in the children's house. But now she's a mother and she wants her baby at home.
When he was small, he was younger, it was very difficult to me because he was sick many days, and many nights they called us to the dormitory at 2 o'clock in the night, but to know that he's crying and he wants his mother, and every day there's another woman that's taking care of him.
Of course it's hard, but I know I wouldn't be happy if I would live all my life taking care of the children, being a housewife or whatever. It's not me, it's not what I want to do.
Unlike most women on the kibbutz who work in the kitchen or the apple shed, Hadass is a trained engineer, running Bara'am's high-tech plastics factory. She admits her career has a lot to do with her views about the children's house.
Okay, like everyone else, I'm a whole person. I'm a mother, and I'm a working woman, and I am a member of this community. For me, these systems give me the opportunity to keep the right balance.
But for many old-time kibbutzniks, the debate over where children sleep is a symptom of a wider problem. Every few weeks, Hadass takes a turn on the factory floor, a night shift. Tonight, she's working with her father, Yaakov. One of Bara'am's founders, he came here in 1949, in the days of nation building and idealism.
We came here to create something new, some new system, new place, and to settle in Israel in a deserted place. We knew that we are going to live in a system that is different from all the world and mainly from our families. And we knew that we are going to a very rough place. Bar'am is a very rough place. I can tell you, when we started and we didn't have water, land, clothing, and it's rough weather here.
It was supposed to be a very important thing to do for the state, for your people, for your future. It was so highly regarded as a pioneering, great enterprise.
In Bara'am's first year, Yaakov met and married Hadassah's mother, Eliza. All over the country, teenagers like them were setting up communities and laying claim to the new state of Israel. They had little, shared everything, and were prepared to make sacrifices.
It was the second year of Israel as an independent state. Being a kibbutznik was such an honor. I mean, when my mother told everyone that her daughter went to a kibbutz in the Galil on the Lebanese border, she was so proud.
Crucial to Israel's settlement policy, the kibbutzim, their farms and their populations flourished. As the country industrialized, so did they. But in the 70s, Israel's government changed. Support for the old-style communes dwindled. By the mid-80s, when Israel's inflation skyrocketed, many kibbutzim were in debt, and the government was no longer interested in bailing them out. Suddenly, the societies based on idealism seemed anything but ideal. Poor and in debt, the kibbutzim were no longer needed to pioneer Israel. Instead, they'd become a burden on the state. As the belief in building a new society collapsed, the frustrations of kibbutz life grew. For many kibbutzniks, it was a crisis. To many on Israel's communes, the loss of government support was shattering. Kibbutzniks, no longer heroes, were now seen as failures. Their hard work and sacrifices began to look pointless. Many wanted a more comfortable life. Economic survival became a priority.
When you are doing something very important, you are more ready to give up some of other things. If you know everyone regards you as the elite. It was not anymore. And the political part of it is an expression of a very deep process of changing in the society as a whole.
On Bara'am, where kibbutz fences almost touch the Lebanese border, change has come slowly. Despite the Middle East peace process, there's still fighting on Israel's border with Lebanon. Every night, Bara'am's kibbutzniks take turns to patrol. For the original kibbutzniks, Israel's faltering peace process is a reminder of a role the kibbutz movement could have played, but hasn't.
It is a tragedy. We were the peaceniks. We fought for it. We dreamed about it. And now it comes, here it is, and it found the kibbutz movement dealing only with the daily life, with no ideas, nothing inspiring anymore, no importance. Unbelievable.
On Bara'am, there's still some of the old kibbutz magic, some of the old idealism. But Israel's changed, and so have its communes. Most here believe that the children will eventually live with their parents. Then, if families cook and eat at home, how will Bara'am be different from any other Israeli suburb? The idealists say the answers change, for kibbutzniks to find a new sense of purpose, a new identity.
The system is an open democracy, an open and direct democracy. It's a rough system to live in because you are not sure in anything, because one day you decide and next day you can change it, or the majority can change it. It's a real difficult way of life.
Bara'am has been successful, financially and as a community. Young people are still keen to come here as volunteers. But fewer and fewer of the single and the ambitious see the kibbutz as a future.
I don't think it's an opportunity for the single person. It's like, it's just working for everybody. And if I do something good, just for me, it doesn't show anything.
Now, even for Bara'am's believers like Eliza, it may be the end. If the children's house goes, she might go too.
Well, I will tell you the truth. This last process of voting, I felt that it might happen. I am here because it's a kibbutz. if it won't be a kibbutz, I don't want to live just in an ordinary, remote village somewhere in the mountains.
It will be a loss for the humankind, not for Israel, for everybody. I think that it is a human example how a modern society can exist and can be very, very positive.
The kibbutz may have been a real social experiment, or just a new way of settling Israel. Either way, on Bara'am at least, it's not finished yet.